Intel CEO goes bye-bye. Their Battlemage cards are getting announced today, and AMD's RX 8800 XT looks mighty fine. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news that I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024. I'm just going to start off again by reminding you that we still have the giveaway ongoing for the Thermaltake Tower 600 PC. It's got a 9950X and RTX 4080 Super. The drawing is taking place later this month. In case you want to come enter into that, you can join us over on Twitch. We'd love to have you there. We had a whole bunch of new people join us last week for the Black Friday stream, as well as Reese's Cyber Monday stream yesterday. So there's been a lot of good new influx of people. Thank you everybody who's been tuning into the Twitch stream. We'll have another giveaway after this one, but looks like Intel's gonna have another CEO because the CEO, Pat Gelsinger, is gone. Not fired, not kicked out, but rather retires, effective immediately, being replaced by two co-CEOs for Intel. So this is something that I'm just gonna give my personal take on upfront. I think is a bad move. I think that this is just yet another continuation of short guided moves by Intel to try to stymie and appease shareholders rather than do what's best for the company in the long term. And we can discuss that a little bit as we go on. But Pat Gelsinger was a big part of Intel's history, has his initials etched into some of the microprocessors, went to VMware, became a CEO there, came back to Intel after a whole host of, let's just say, bad CEOs. You had Brian Krzanich, who I think is personally partially responsible for where Intel is right now. He had to be let go because it was found he was having an extramarital affair with the subordinate, and then he was replaced by this guy who has no riz whatsoever. I think that's the first time I said something like that here on Hot News. Bob Swan, he basically was a financial person put in charge of CEO position and made it so that they lost the technological lead. And then when Pat Gelsinger became CEO in 2021, I feel like he's been the one who's been putting them back on track. But this is something that both NVIDIA's Jensen Huang has said, as well as AMD's Lisa Su, that what happens in the semiconductor market with CPUs and GPUs is actually what's happening right now is based on bets that the company made 5, 6, 8, 10 years ago with how they're deciding to design things. What's happening right now at Intel, I believe, based on how I interpret the situation, is the bets that Brian Krzanich and Bob Swan made over their tenure from 2018 to 2021. Those chickens are now coming home to roost, and whatever Pat Gelsinger was implementing right now, we're not gonna see the fruits of until closer to 2030 because it takes a long time to get engineering working the way that you want it to as you're trying to steer a massive ship. AMD's Lisa Su has said this multiple times, but it doesn't change the fact that Intel has suffered under Pat Gelsinger, and he just hasn't brought the confidence that I think a lot of people have wanted for Intel. He doesn't have that gravitas that Jensen has in order to have this rock star CEO that's allowed them to grab onto the AI hype and drive their market share upwards. But he's done a lot of good stuff in terms of setting strategy, focusing on their IDM 2.0, making their CPUs, GPUs, all trying to be competitive again. And he said that leading Intel has been the honor of my lifetime. This group of people is among the best and brightest in the business. And I'm honored to call each and every one a colleague. Today is of course bittersweet as this company has been my life for the bulk of my working career. I can look back with pride at all that we have accomplished together. It's been a challenging year for all of us as we have made tough but necessary decisions to position Intel in the current market dynamics. I'm forever grateful for the many colleagues around the world who I've worked with as part of the Intel family. So there's also 95 Mac making this all about Apple, discussing how this is an Apple Silicon success story, but also pointing out that it appears that the board was basically giving Pat an ultimatum of either retire or you're going to be removed. And it appears that he went with the softer approach, but it's a Apple Silicon win because a lot of the transitions that Apple made to move over to Apple Silicon and get rid of Intel are now playing out, and those are bets that Apple made back in 2018 was the first time we made a video on Apple making their own processor. But again, that was the reign of Brian Krzanich that made it so that Apple didn't trust Intel moving forward. So, you know, there's a lot of different speculation that can go on here, but the ultimate point at the end of the day is that Intel is continuing to have to make new decisions in order to make their company survive. I really hope it works out. I want to see this succeed as much as I've wanted to see them succeed in the past, but We'll have to wait and see, but you don't have to wait anymore to see, or rather hear, today's video sponsor. Nothing ruins your day like bad sleep the night before. You're sleepy and grumpy and kind of just feel like there's nothing you could have done to get better sleep. Or maybe I'm just talking about myself. Well, you would be wrong thanks to Oslo and their awesome sleep buds, but you'd be right about them sponsoring today's video. Oslo set out with one goal in mind: bring science-driven sleep to those who need it. Oslo sleep buds are not simply just earbuds. These little comfy guys are designed to mask sleep-disrupting sounds by replacing them with all the nice cozy sounds you want to hear to drift off at night. I really can't stress how comfy these are, and with the all-night battery life, it's almost like these were designed to be worn while you sleep. Not sleeping through the night is a big issue I have with my sleep, so being able to mask noise with the soft and squishy design of the sleep buds allows me to only hear the sounds that help me stay asleep. I find I also fall asleep easier when I can stream calming sounds or relaxing music without disrupting anyone around me. A super convenient feature the sleep buds have are their biometric sensors. So if you're listening to an audiobook, once you fall asleep, your book gets paused, and the Oslo sleep buds play a gentle noise masking sound to keep you asleep. Pairing the sleep buds and their charging case with the Oslo sleep app opens up even more opportunities. You can monitor sound, light, and the temperature of your room, providing you with a personalized sleep report every day when you wake up. The Oslo sleep buds deliver comfort and quality in both sound and sleep, so they were a no-brainer to make part of my nightly routine. Thanks to Oslo for partnering with me. You can get the best sleep of your life by scanning the QR code on the screen, clicking the link in my description, or using code UFD Tech to get $10 off your pair of Oslo sleep buds. Well, I gotta take my Oslo sleep buds out to hear the news about Battlemage, which is allegedly gonna be coming out today. Intel kind of teasing this, that they're gonna have some big graphic news coming out on December 3rd. Obviously, we haven't seen it yet because this episode is airing before any of that news comes out, but we've already discussed at length the ARC B580, as well as we discussed the fact that there was a B570, but now there's specs that have come out on the B570 that seem to make it like very close to the B580 in all honesty. It only has 2 GB less of VRAM, coming in at 10 GB. It has a slightly slower GPU clock based on other core count amounts. It's like, this should be about 80% of what the B580 is, this B570 here, at least based on all of the specs we're seeing right now. Maybe Intel might come out and say it's slightly different based on all of their specs and the benchmarking that they've done. But Tom's Hardware saying that they expect the pricing to be around $200. The B580 is supposed to be about $250. $200 for a 10 GB card that should compete with an RTX 4060. Doesn't sound like the worst thing in the world, but again, I'm not exactly sure where it's all gonna land. I hope Intel, when they do their launch of Battlemage today with their announcement, that they give us some comparative benchmarks. I would like to see more. I would also like to hear an explanation of why we're not getting a B770 replacing the A770, and instead we're getting a B580 replacing the A580. I would like them to speak on that. Whether or not they're gonna do that remains to be seen, but Intel GPUs, hopefully good, hopefully price competitive. I think even if they're not gonna try to go for the top dog crown of even competing with something like a 7800 XT, that's fine, as long as the pricing makes sense and the drivers have been adjusted to be slightly better. That's what I would like to see. And I hope Reese is adjusted to dealing, because he did a lot. He did Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Let's see what he's got for Tuesday.
Yo, welcome back to UFD Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals out on the internet. It is the start of a post-Black Friday, Cyber Monday week, and I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of difficult to find deals that weren't expired, but hey, I got you guys. Starting off today, we have this Logitech G203 wired gaming mouse for only $18.99, making it $21 off for most of the colorways. Just add an extra $1 for some of the others. But then otherwise, we have this Samsung Odyssey G3, this 24-inch 1080p 180Hz gaming monitor is going for only $99.99, making it $100 off. And then lastly, an office staple with the Sony WH-1000 XM4s. These wireless noise cancelling headphones are going for only $198, making it $151.99 off. And coincidentally enough, almost everyone on the UFD Tech team uses these as their daily drivers. But hey, with that, the deals are done. You can find these and more linked in the video description down below. But until next time, I'm gonna hand you off back to Brett for the rest of your hot news. Cheers.
Well, Reese, it looks like we're gonna get a banger deal when it comes to the RX 8800 XT. There's new rumors popping up about AMD's next-gen graphics cards that we're expecting to get announced in January at CES. Primarily, number one, that this GPU is entering into mass production in the middle of this month, which bodes well for its release date sometime in January. But we also got some rumors and leaks on the performance level of the RX 8800 XT, and it's about where a lot of people people expected it to be, but with some key changes coming out. So number one, the RX 8800 XT is supposed to have similar ray tracing and raster performance as the RTX 4080. So AMD's mid-tier GPU is going to match an RTX 4080, which means that it's roughly around the raster performance of an RX 7900 XTX. So they're basically taking their flagship and dropping it down a spec, but with that, it's supposed to have 45% higher ray tracing performance than the 7900 XTX, which again puts it in the line of that 4080 Super range of performance. So that's great. This is not going to be the best graphics card out on the market because the 4090 exists, and likely we're also going to get a 5090, but an 8800 XT that actually meets where the 4080 is at could be very good, especially if pricing stays similar to where the 7800 XT is at, which is $499 MSRP. So if we get the performance of an RTX 4080 or 7900 XTX at the price point of the 800 XT class GPU, that means we are effectively getting a 50% price reduction, which would be beautiful, but I've gone down this road with AMD so many times where I get so worked up thinking about the possibilities of their pricing being so good that it makes the most sense completely, and there's no way you could ever buy NVIDIA, and then they're gonna release it at like $700. NVIDIA's gonna drop the RTX 5080 at like $899, but it's gonna be better than this card, and then it's just gonna be a whole conversation again. That's all speculation by me, but every time I feel like AMD's going in the right direction with their GPUs, they just do something to just make it slightly worse than it could be. And my guess is that the 8800 XT is probably gonna be a little bit more expensive than we're expecting. But with that, the good news is that they've worked on their power efficiency. That's been a big problem with the 7900 XTX. It's a power hog, especially compared to something like the RTX 4080. You basically get 4090 power consumption for 4080 level performance. The 8800 XT is supposed to have 25% less power consumption than the 7900 XTX, coming in at around 270 watts. Although Seasonic did a little bit of a leak with the 8800 XT being on their power supply list, coming in at a 220 watt TDP. So it's not quite clear, but it does look like it's going to be a lower power card. If these performance rumors match up, I think we're in a very exciting new GPU adventure that we're going to go on in January and beyond. We've got Battlemage obviously being discussed today by Intel. 8800 XT is promising based on these early performance rumors. I hope it continues to go that way. And I hope you guys continue to comment, which it's engagement by me responding to you, and that is me telling you, hey, I like your comments, I value them, I want you to leave more of them. And so here we go. We got Cam saying, I think Steam tends to get the most sales while providing the most value adds, like unofficial Linux support for different gamepads, including remapping, Steam networking to make multiplayer easier, etc. I don't know if Steam is taking a too big a piece of the pie, but they definitely earned the place in the market to take a bit more than others. I've purchased a game twice just because it came out a second time on Steam. I kind of mostly agree with that. They don't have unofficial Linux support. They have official Linux support because SteamOS is Linux. Just saying. I think that where the class action lawsuit of antitrust against Steam falls short is that there are so many different marketplaces and game stores that are available on PC. With the lawsuits that came from Epic against Apple, it was locked down. You could only do the iOS App Store, you could only do the Google Play Store, but on PC, you do have Steam, you do have GOG, you do have Epic Games. Ubisoft has their own launcher, Rockstar has their own launcher, where they're trying to get their own sales going out there, and the competition is, I would say, quite robust, but again, the problem is that the competition, frankly, is worse. And so Steam is winning based on merit, and I don't think it's necessarily due to anti-competitive actions, but we'll see how that plays out in a court of law. And Spacelime saying, yes, antitrust against Steam for taking 30%, but nothing towards Sony. Of course, eventually, probably. I mean, the winds have already shifted against Apple and Google. We'll see how it shifts against other companies moving forward. Then we got CodeString saying, I just want to say that Reese's bit for the deals, always doing some nice work at finding deals. It's kind of surprising how some price drop on even some accessories can be handy. Didn't think I'd spoil myself much during this holiday, but I've put an order for another 3D printer. excited for you. I'm glad you appreciate Reese. I appreciate him as well. Hope you enjoy your 3D printer. Let me know which one you got. We've been really enjoying our Bamboo Lab here at the UFD Tech office. And then we got Nico saying, what happened with the supposed Barrett S Lake Intel CPU? If I'm recalling correctly, it ended up being either an embedded processor or it ended up being like some, it was cool, and it is LGA 1700, but it's not gonna be for consumers, so it's everything that could have worked, but then doesn't. And then Sherber Ferber saying, UFD Tech, the wait for Battlemage is almost over. Me, the wait for Battlemage drivers has just begun. Got him. Aerobrake saying, Seta A2 actually looks stunning. Yeah, that rose gold with the white on the Seta A2, magnificent. I really liked it. And then Coffee Pop saying, holy crap, it just clicked. Alchemist, Battlemage Celestial Druid. They're following the alphabet. I'm not a smart creature, don't worry. I really love it when there are these like little small, not Easter eggs, but like conventions that these companies do, right? Like we all make fun of the different lakes that Intel does. Those are actual geographical features that you can go look at. And then AMD had their stars naming with Polaris and Vega and all of that. I like this, I enjoy it. So I'm glad that, yeah, it's going alphabetically. It's a convention that's kind of easy to pay attention to, and I hope we make it to Z. We have 26 iterations of Intel's GPUs moving forward. That would be so nice. And it's so nice to be back for Hot News. I'll see you back here for more of the hottest tech news tomorrow, and maybe over on Twitch for the 4080 Super PC giveaway. You want to come join us for that? Twitch.tv/UFD Tech. Love to have you there. Drawing's going to be happening later this month, and I'm latering you.